Well, greetings, YouTube model people. How's it going? All right, welcome to episode 2 in my scale model building judge series, and how I judge and how the judging process works, and all that good fun stuff. So this one's probably going to be a bit long, but I think you'll find it interesting because we're going to take pictures of models that I randomly found off the internet, and we're going to look at them, and I'm going to kind of comment along at what I see, and the good, the bad, the in-between. And, you can see kind of what judges look at and what they see, what maybe the average attendee or person really don't catch or see. So let me put this at the front here, and I'm going to be making probably a playlist of all these videos, and the first video is going to be like a giant disclaimer. All the information I'm about to give you, again, this is my experience, guys. This is not the official stance or policy of IPMS organization, because again, all my judging experience is with IPMS, and it's 1, 2, 3, first, second, third place type judging. Okay, this is my experience. A lot of it is going to be very consistent, if not all of it, with the actual rules. But again, the actual authoritative source for what I'm talking about in any of these videos, basically speaking, is the IPMS organization. And you can check out all of that. Is very visible, very accessible. There's no secrets. There's no, hiding things from people. It's all up there on their website. It's been for years. It's ipmsusa.org. And in there you can see all of the judging procedures and how to become a judge and all that kind of stuff. So that aside, as I said, I kind of felt like I had to do a disclaimer. Now, you're staring at a picture here of my favorite animal, which is a full-grown male lion. And how magnificent does he look, right? So anyway, no, we're going to get to the first picture, and then we're going to show you some things, and we're going to kind of we're going to kind of pause the video here and there to give you a chance to take a look and figure it out for yourself without me spilling all the beans, so to speak, okay? So, kind of make it a little interactive if you want. So, really, here's an interesting fact about pictures and model judging, is really using pictures to model judge doesn't work all that well, because you can only see what you can see. The lighting is only a certain way, and really, it's not the best method. And to tell you the truth, the interesting thing is, now that everybody's running around with a phone that takes great pictures for the most part, right? At the IPMS Nationals, especially, they tell you you are not permitted to take pictures with your smartphone and then zoom in and do different things to look at a model closer in certain areas. You're supposed to observe it as it's displayed and judge it as such. You're not supposed to take pictures and then judge the pictures. So, just to give you that. Okay, on to the first picture. Again, these are random, guys. I don't know who did these builds. If you're one of these builders who did one of these builds, first of all, most of them are a great job, from what I could see, for the most part. So, bravo. But, you may not want to watch or listen, because what we do in the judging pool is that if we're at a local show, especially, they don't close the room for the judging, right? At least most local shows, or none of the ones I've been to, right? They will not close the room so the judges can judge. They do that at IPMS Nationals, right? And there's some other documentation things going on, and people taking photos of all the models and all that. You just can't have the general public milling around doing all that stuff. So normally we are kind of judging while people are just milling around, and we do look for people who seem to be hovering. And we would really try to say, did you build this model? If so, can you let us just do our assessment and maybe come back in a few minutes or something like that? Because the idea is we don't want interference one way or the other. Either the judges look like they're getting information they shouldn't from the builder, or the builder getting information, from the judging team while they're assessing their model. So that's that. Hopefully all that come out making sense. Now, here we go. Let's dive right in. So, this model here, this appears to be, from what I could tell, the 1970s Mack fire truck. It is a snap kit. I believe it was originally by Monogram, and I believe this was the Backdraft kit that came out a long time ago when the movie Backdraft came out. And also later on, they kind of repackaged this in new box art. They made it, I think, Heroes of the Hour, I believe it is, or something. I think they put this kit together with the police car, which was also a snap kit. And then I think there was one other more recent box art to go with this model. So I'm a little familiar with this model. I built it myself. So anyway, that aside, we're going to take a look at this. And now I'm going to tell you that I see two, what I call fitment and or basic construction flaws. Okay, that's the first big category we look at. Really, you'd be surprised how many models it comes down to fit and finish. Fit and finish, good fit and good finish, and consistent. And consistency is the other big one. Everything's got to be consistent, right? So you can't have overly detailed here and done to the nines and then kind of lacking over there. Good example would be a car with an engine that's got every bell and whistle on it, really run well, and then there's other parts of the model that are lacking and don't have any paint detail or anything, right? It's very inconsistent. So that aside, I'm going to tell you these two flaws that I see here are at the bottom of the model. Okay, now you can pause if you want and then try to figure that out. And then we'll just wait a second here. And then now I'm going to tell you and point out exactly where those flaws are. So what we see is a gap here at the bottom. And I can tell you this part of the model and this part are separate. This snaps down into this. There are two plastic kind of anchors. One on this side, one on that side, one on this side, one on that side. And they kind of clip off and snap in. They should snap in fully. They should snap in flush. As you can see, there's a gap here. There's actually a gap along the whole edge there. And there's a gap here. Okay? So, they're not consistent from side to side either, right? So that tells me this is basically was not constructed properly. So, that would be one item I see. Now, the second thing I see, and again, the orientation of the picture I can't change, obviously. So, if I were there looking at this, you know, with my naked eye, I could do a lot more. Now, another item I see here, and I hope you can see okay, is that this piece, this diamond plate, is a separate piece. This piece is sticking over the edge of the end of the truck, right? And if we go to this side, we see that the diamond plate is sticking short of the end of the truck. So again, that looks to be also a bit inconsistent. And again, it's a little hard to tell, but it also seems like from the front end here, there's less space, and here, there's more space. So if I were judging this in person, I would be taking a look at this a lot closer, and I would be taking a look from an angle like this to see how this back piece, does it line up nice and smooth? And my guess is that you would see other, possibly see other alignment flaws or fitment things based on this, because you know how it works. It's like dominoes, right? One misfit part kind of cascades to another misfit part. So that's what we see on this model. Let's pick another one. Okay. Again, all random pictures, guys, and I don't mean anything by if you were the builder at all. So this one, as I take a look at it, something that stands out to me is the overall finish. It appears to be, and again, it's a little hard to tell, but it appears to be very orange peeled, what I can see of it. Also, we see here in the door panels, there is a pull away of the paint, right? It's a lighter color, so most likely this is primed in either white, gray, or it was molded in white and they didn't use any primer at all. And the paint pulled away from basically the edges there. And that's what we see, right? I don't think they painted that white. Again, seeing it in person would make it a lot easier. Up front here, we see some issues here where the grille and the bumper, looks like they had a bit of trouble getting this to fit properly. Looks like some glue here, or paint, or maybe both, that are kind of smudged on the side, off there. Here we see this is a decal, it appears, this pinstriping, but also we see that they maybe look like they made an attempt at doing the wheel well chrome, because we see some chrome here, some chrome there, some chrome there, but there's none here painted. Same in the back. So also this marker light lens looks like it was could have been painted better. So that's what we see with this model. Okay. go to our next one. Hopefully the line doesn't scare you guys. Okay, let's go to a real change of effect. What if you walk up and you're judging, and this is one of my favorite things about judging these days, is what if you walk up and you get to judge this? Well, that's spectacular, right? That is just incredible. Standing in awe for a couple of moments would be the first thing I do. But this is honestly, after judging for so many years, this is one of my favorite things to judge, is something that looks like this and is like almost spot on perfect, right? Because you may find very little wrong with this, but if you look around, you probably will find some flaws. Again, maybe not enough not to win something, but flaws nonetheless. So, how would I approach going up to something like this? Well, I will say right away, the person exposed this model every way they could. They have an open compartment here. They have the engine compartment is open. The two doors, passenger and driver, are wide open. So you can see the interior, and the back trunk is also wide open. So that's a tip also for you guys, or just to be aware of. The more you show, the more we're going to judge. It's just the nature of the beast. If you have a convertible and it's going against a closed top, hard top car, we're going to see more in the convertible. That's just the way it is, right? We're not going to be digging around. We may look a little bit, but you can't see much in a closed interior usually, right? It's pretty difficult. But in a convertible, everything's wide open to you. And I'm going to show you something like that in a little while. So the first thing I would do is I'm going to look at every area that's opened up and see if there's any issues. Or is there any paint issues? Is there any pin marks? Missed paint? Is the inside here clean and neatly done? I'm going to certainly check underneath the engine cover here to see how that's done and painted. Same thing with the door panels, especially in this area here and underneath and around up in here, to see that all of that's nice and neat and clean, well painted and all. And also up underneath here, if you can see it. I'm not sure, it's hard to tell with the angle of this picture if you can actually get yourself and your eyes up underneath there, but certainly all inside here to see that it's all neat and clean, just like the rest of it is, right? That's the areas I would look at first. Also, I would look at the overall paint, believe it or not. It looks spectacular here, but you never know. There could be a bad paint spot here. There could be little dust spots, dust mites that got, dust monsters, I guess you could say, got caught over here in the paint. We don't know. We can't really look at it beyond this picture, right? So, I did see something here that I believe would be a bit of an issue, which is this. And we'll see if you guys kind of follow along and agree. It's going to be a little tough to see, guys. I'm sorry. All right. We'll try this. Okay. So what the first thing I see is, and again, it may not be anything, but it looks to me like it might be. Over here, I see some light colored something. It looks to me like it might be chrome paint, possibly. I don't know for sure. It could be part of an inside piece that we just can't see the whole thing, but I would certainly take a look at that. This here looks like maybe it doesn't belong. I'm not sure. Looks like, again, paint. Another thing is this little mark here. I see some, I don't know if that's supposed to be there, or again, the angle of the picture. Another thing I see, also maybe hard to see in this picture, guys, I apologize, is there's some blue that kind of, fades into the black here on this edge. So what I would look is that consistent? Is it even across all the way around the inside, meaning it was intentional? Is it just over there and over here? That would be inconsistent. Again, looking for consistency, that would mean to me, if we had to get to nitty-gritty, again, these are very nitty-gritty details, that this person missed that and didn't clean it up, possibly, right? If it wasn't consistent, that would be what I would think. The top of this part, I don't know if it's weathered to look that way or whether that's just not neatly done. And believe it or not, and I don't think you're going to see this, there's like a light spot here. I don't know if that's mist paint. And there's also, you can't really see it, but there appears to be a line that goes across there too. Is that a mold line on there? We don't know. So those are some of the things that I saw with this model. Again, hard to tell for sure in this picture, but those are certainly some things I would look at. And investigate if I were able, if I were there in person. So let's take on this next one. We got, let's see, one more after this. I'm not sure how long this video is, probably 85 years. No, about 15 minutes, not too bad. Okay, this is the Munsters coach, fun model. I've also built this one just by coincidence. So here's a couple things I see, and you guys will probably be able to see. I don't know if you want to take a look at it for a second and see if you can pick anything out before I start commentary. I'll just wait a moment. Okay, so what we see is, and I did the same thing with my model, is I hand painted this gold, right? And it's all on the fenders and in different areas and in the back fenders. So we definitely see some issues there. I hope that's showing up with some gold paint. It's just not the best, it could be, should be a little neater, right? You see, missed some spots. Also over here, excuse me, looks like it's a little bit thicker, maybe. Little bit of couple spots missed over here, right? And then over in this corner, of course, this here also looks like some of it was missed, and also that this is uneven from this line. Very tough to do. Excuse me, very tough to do, but that's just some of the things we see. Now, here's something that comes down to, also while we're zoomed in, seeing some thick paint here. So we may have that in other areas of the model where it was very thick paint, and that's going to show, certain issues, certainly, or too much clear buildup or whatever it is. But we see this area of paint, it definitely looks a little suspect. I'm not sure what's going on there. It also looks, as they say, kind of ripply, which means it's a lot of paint or a lot of clear, which would be an inconsistent finish. Again, fit finish, guys. We'll keep saying it over and over again. Now, the next thing we see here is quite interesting, is these, I think they're basically handles, right? We have 4 of them. We have this one, that one, this one, and that one. Well, they all look pretty good. They sort of look even from this angle and all that good stuff. They're painted a nice gold color. But what we have a problem with is over here. These are very prominent, it appears, mold lines. This one don't have it. This one doesn't have it really. Although it might be a little bit of something there, I can't tell. And so on and so forth. So it looks like 3 out of the 4, they cleaned up the mold lines, and with this one they did not. And again, that sort of falls under basic construction. So that's what we see here. There's some paint issues in the gold, and some mold lines on this handle, and some paint issues here up front, down in the black. And that's about all I could pick out of here. Also, it's hard to tell with the orientation. It's possible this is not perfectly aligned properly. The radiator here, the front, it looks a little, I don't know. It's hard to tell. I paused to really weigh in on that, again, without seeing it face to face. But it looks possibly like this is not perfectly straight across. Might be slightly back or forward. So that's what we see there. Okay. We're on to the last picture, folks, or last 2 pictures, actually. Maybe I can do it in one. I'm not sure. All right. Now, again, this is a very, very impressive build, by the way. I actually built this kit as well, just by coincidence. It's amazing how many of these I've built. This is a Tamiya kit. It's one of these beautiful Le Mans race cars. Super cool. So when you look at something like this, and again, if you're not really judging, you're going to say, wow, this is spectacular. Look at all the details, look at all the colors, look at all the paints. It's really something, and it is something. It's an excellent job. But there are some concerns here. The first item I see that looked like a concern, and again, I built this kit, so I do know a little bit about it. First thing I see is this, you see this light spot on this hose? Goes up most of it, and then also up here there's a spot. This is a sink mark, and this is basically flash, right? Or mold line, right? That was not cleaned up. So again, that's something we would hope that would have been done. While we're zoomed in here, this area here looks a little bit sloppy. Something's up, and in here there's sort of a blemish. I don't know if that's a scratches. Or whether that's part of some of the polish. Maybe he never cleaned up. but there's definitely something happening there that doesn't really look perfect to me. Now, the next item is interesting, which is sort of the edge of the wheel wells here. If you can see this one, it's basically looks like a satin black, and then there's some other color painted on the inside of that. I'm not too sure what that is. Well, if we go across to the other side, which I think you can see this, I hope. If not, we'll change to the other picture. You can see that whatever that interior color is sort of spilled over onto the black here. So again, that's a consistency. If you look at them side to side, you see the paint sitting over the edge, and this is nice and clean, and it doesn't sit over the edge. So that would be, again, a bit of a concern. We also see a mold line here in the hose, right, or part of the hose, right? So I don't know if you can see that, but right there's a mold line, okay? Now, let's take a look at another angle of that same model, and it'll show up that inconsistency a little better, I think. See, over here, all black. Just a little bit on the edge maybe there, paint. Again, minor. Most of this build is very good. Right there, a little edge. And then over here, you can see clearly where it's a lot more of that paint color that's spilled onto the black. Now, here's one other little thing. It's not much, but, you know, it is something. Again, if you're nitpicking and really looking to find details, whatever it is, that looks like to be, I'd have to double check, but I'm pretty sure that's not supposed to be there. It's just a dab of chrome paint that's on the red part of the hose. You know, I don't think there's a little latch there or anything from my memory, but again, we'd be able to tell for sure if we saw it in person. So that's it, folks. I don't have any other pictures to show. Here again, there's another angle of this troubled area, as you can see. A little bit of concern, right, on the in there, the red, all that good stuff. So yeah, that's all we have. A lot of these things were nitty-gritty details, and you know, basically how the judging goes. And I'm going to go through a separate episode on this, so I'm not going to keep prolonging this one. But basically, what you start out with is, you know, every judge. I'm not going to actually get into it right now. I'm sorry, guys. I'll go through like how we approach a category, how the judges get selected, how they're designated, and then how you sort of whittle away to getting to a result. I'm going to put that in episode number 3. Okay? So that's it. Thanks for watching. Comment below. Any questions you have, anything at all, any comments, certainly welcome. And yeah, I hope you found this educational and more than anything. And again, I can't say enough, the authoritative source for all this kind of judging and some of these things are the IPMSUSA.org site. Okay? Cheers.